Today we're talking about stuff. You know, your stuff. Your phone, your car, that brilliant idea you had in the shower. What does it actually mean to own something? Well, let's break down how the law sees all your property.
All right, think about this for a second. You've got a wallet, right? You can hold it, it's yours, super simple. But what about a song you wrote or a business plan? You can't exactly hold those in your hand, but you still feel like you own them. And guess what? The law agrees with you, but it draws some really important lines between those different kinds of ownership.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll nail down what property even is. Then we'll get into how the law splits it up, physical versus conceptual. After that, we'll dig into what rights you actually get as an owner. And finally, we'll look at the rules for when you're just borrowing something.
Okay, let's start at the very beginning. Before we can figure out who owns what, we have to get on the same page about what property actually is in the eyes of the law.
And here it is, the big definition. Now, I want you to focus on two words here: tangible or intangible. That little phrase changes everything. It means the law doesn't just protect physical things you can drop on your foot, it also protects designs, creative works, even pure concepts. This idea is the bedrock for this entire explainer.
So let's really dig into that first major split. You can think of the law as sorting all the stuff in the world into two giant buckets, and it all comes down to one simple question. Can you touch it? And this brings us right back to our first question. Your wallet? That's tangible property. You can hold it, you can feel it, but that song you wrote? That's intangible. Its value isn't in a piece of paper, it's in the idea itself, protected by something called a copyright. And the law protects that idea just as fiercely as it protects your actual wallet.
This distinction leads to this massive legal and ethical question. I mean, think about it. If you pirate a song, the original artist still has their copy. You haven't taken a physical thing from them, but you've absolutely taken some of its value. Figuring out how to handle that is a huge debate that shapes entire industries, from music to software.
Now, the law has another way of sorting things, and this one is about a different question. Can you move it? If the answer is no, like a piece of land or a house, it's called real property. Everything else, literally all the movable stuff in your life, from your car down to your coffee mug, is personal property.
And this is where it gets really fun. What happens when these two worlds collide? What happens when you take a piece of personal property, something movable, and you permanently attach it to real property, like a building? Does it, I don't know, magically change its legal identity?
Well, the answer is yes, it does. And there's a special legal word for it, a fixture. A fixture is like a legal chameleon. It starts its life as one thing, personal property, but through the simple act of installation, it legally transforms into real property. It becomes part of the building itself.
Let me walk you through how this works. Step 1. A business buys a bunch of heavy-duty shelves. At that moment, they're just personal property. Step 2. They bolt those shelves directly into the concrete floor. That act of attaching them is called annexation. And boom, Step 3. That simple action legally transforms them. They are now fixtures, a part of the warehouse.
And here is why this is so important. Because those shelves became a fixture, they are now legally part of the real property, the warehouse. So when that business's lease ends, guess what? Unless their contract says something different, those $200,000 shelves now belong to the landlord. Wow. A simple act of bolting something down can have huge financial consequences.
So we see how these definitions have real-world impact, but that's only half the story. The other half is, what does it actually mean to own something? When you say, I own this car, what legal powers are you actually claiming?
This is so crucial. The law doesn't see ownership as a single concept, but as a bundle of rights. Think of it like a bundle of sticks. You have the right to possess it, to use it, to sell it, and to make money from it. But maybe the most important stick in that bundle is the right to exclude others, the right to put up a sign that says, "Hey world, this is mine, not yours."
And this quote right here gets to the absolute heart of it. That bundle of rights you have isn't magic. It only exists because the government creates and enforces laws to protect it. Without that legal system backing you up, ownership would just mean whatever you can physically hold on to and defend. The law is what separates true ownership from just, possession.
Here's a perfect example of how those rights can be limited. Let's say Susie invents a new way to make some dangerous radioactive material. She gets a patent, which is her intangible property. But then the government can step in and say, okay, Susie, you own the patent, you have the right to stop others from using your invention, but we're taking away your right to actually use it yourself. Her bundle of rights just got a whole lot smaller.
All right, for our last piece of the puzzle, let's talk about something we've all done, holding on to something that belongs to someone else. Turns out there's a whole area of law dedicated just to that.
The legal term is bailment. I know, it sounds a little old-fashioned, but it happens constantly. When you give your keys to a valet or let a friend borrow your laptop, you're the bailor. The person holding your stuff is the bailee. And in that moment, you've created a real legal relationship with specific duties and responsibilities.
Now, this legal relationship can pop into existence in two different ways. An express bailment is when you agree to it, like hiring someone to sell your car for you. But an implied bailment can be created just by your actions, no words needed. If you find a laptop that someone left at a coffee shop and you pick it up, you have just become a bailee. You now have a legal duty to take reasonable care of it.
Okay, pop quiz. You're heading out of a busy restaurant and you accidentally grabbed the wrong coat. You didn't mean to, but legally, what are you now? You got it. You're a bailee in an implied bailment. Even though it was a total accident, the law says you are now holding someone else's personal property and you have a duty to protect that coat and help get it back to its rightful owner.
And that brings us full circle to our final big thought. After all this, talking about intangible ideas, things that magically transform, and this abstract bundle of rights, we have to ask, what is ownership, really? Is it about the thing you can hold in your hand? Or is it about a collection of abstract rights that only exist because we as a society agree to recognize and defend them? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining us.